Okay, as promised, we are extending this episode. This is going to be a second part. So, once again, it is me with the greatest guest that there's ever been, Mr. Patrick Houston.
I appreciate the compliment, but thank you. It's very hard to take these compliments.
But right now, we're going to talk about a few more things, and then we're going to go to some of those new little things that we've been working on. Now, we talked about religion and your experience just a little bit, but what we need to talk about is the athletic part of your life right now and how that integrates with your work. Because, from what I understand, tell me if I'm wrong, it seems as if you've literally sort of weaved in your working out with your business hours.
Right.
And you make it work almost seamlessly. Like, this is the thing that's incredible to me.
Right.
Like, explain how that works. Because I think to myself, because when I was working out specifically for corrections officer, it was like, okay, the workout, then the correction. But it's sort of like those two things sort of like
They're against each other.
Yes.
Right, right.
They have to be right there. But with your business, you're like traveling all around, and it's like, okay, we're gonna make this happen now.
Yeah, well, they still are against each other. Like, becoming an Ironman, takes, I want to say, about 20 hours of training a week. Swimming, biking, all the three disciplines, swimming, biking, and running, and the weight training that goes with it. So I always had this whole thing. Tim Ferriss has a whole thing where he talks about making the hard things easy. So what I ended up doing is I ended up rearranging my house so that there's actually a running track in this house, and I use the running track I use the house for the running track when I can't get outside. Because sometimes it's a little bit hard to get to the gym. Sometimes you're demotivated, whatever's going on. So I can at least pace and get my, 20,000 steps. It's not like a crazy person going, walking around the house 2-3 hours, but it works. Now, when it comes to the work, the way I ended up doing it, it took me years to figure this out too. Like, especially with Uber and Lyft, you can make your own hours, so that makes everything great. But what you do is, first of all, you keep a certain territory. So in my territory, I know I have 3 parks, 2 parks with hills, and those parks, out of those parks, at least 2 of them have charging stations. So usually I'm charging up the van, and in that 90 minutes, I can be able to get like a good 5 or 6 miles in for a run. And one of the reasons why I have minivans is because I can put my bike in the back, and I still can, take customers. So like, if I want to do a long run, I'll park my van somewhere, charge it up, and then be able to do my long run. So the schedule works like 4:30. So from 4:30 to 7, I'm waking up and getting the dog together, and I go to that first workout in the gym around like 6 o'clock, and then I work out for an hour, and then I'll start my business. My business hours are from 7 to 7. So from 7 till 10, I'll work 3 hours. I'll take a break, take out the dog, get breakfast, and then I'll go again from 11:30 till about 2. Take another break, take the dog out, and then I'll go from again like 3 to like 7, and then at that 7, that's when I can do my second workout. At the gym. So there's always 2 gym sessions that are both an hour or 90 minutes at either end of the shift. And by the end of that day, I'm done. That's it. But all that has to happen. I have to pick a defined territory. It has to be defined hours, and just those 2 things. I can't think of a third thing. But
specifically, that I'm going to be here, and because I'm going to be here, I'm going to be here at this time. So this is what I have to do.
This is what needs to be done exactly, and like you can't get that with change. You can't get that with chasing money. That's the thing with these. When you have a business, it's really, really, really hard not to chase money, and you have to make that the thing in your head that you come up with a number in your head that you came up with. At the beginning of the month, I have to make this so that all my bills are happy and I have money to play with. Once you come up with that number, get to that number, and then work out. And then it's just a reciprocating thing. They're really not. It's just like yours. Like it's really sitting in the car is a lot different from training. completely different. So you have to make them mesh in that way. So it's actually it's difficult and it takes a lot of time, but you can do it. Um, you just have to sort of change the parameters. Like I mean, I wish I could figure out a way to make like my quota is I need to make $300 a day. If I can make $300 a day in less than the 9 hours that it takes me, that'd be great because then I have more time to train. I just haven't figured that out yet. But that's the goal. Like if I can make $300 in 5 hours and then still have 3 or 4 hours to train and meal prep and do all the other things that you have to do to live life and stuff like that, that would be golden. But that's the thing that I think I'll get to it within this 10-year span. That I'm what am I? I'm in year 4 now. I'm in year 4 of this whole 10-year project now. So
That makes sense. I mean, it makes a lot of sense because ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what you're trying to find. Like you're always trying to fine tune it, which is it's interesting the way you put that because you have your mark, and then you say, okay, can I make that mark within so many hours? And I think to myself immediately, I go to my mechanic mindset, and I immediately think you're almost kind of working almost on a flat rate system. Essentially, you're like, all right, yeah, I have to. This job is going to pay me this much money. Of course, it's not the way it's necessarily going. You're saying I need to make this much money. So essentially, you're sort of saying at this point I need to make this. You're sort of saying that's what I'm going to do because your mentality is like nothing less will do. So I've
yeah,
got to get this. This is what's going to be for this period of time. And once you hit that, then it's like okay, now I can move on to the next. Now if you get to the point where it's you get that magic number in less time, just like flat rate, you're like okay, you have the options at this point.
you have more
Yeah,
time to play with
you
certain
can
things.
then you can say okay, I got this. So now am I going to go do a little bit more training or do I want to save for a rainy day and maybe do a little bit more work?
And that's exactly what it is. You'll and you'll if you come up with your monthly budget, you always want to kind of have like a tiny bit of a cushion. But
Oh
again, you
yeah,
can't go crazy because if you go crazy, if you go crazy chasing the money, you'll have the money. But I'm gonna tell you, it's a very hollow feeling once you get the money. I've done that. They have these, you can do these lift things, or they have these things where you do so many rides, you get some sort of bonus, and you end up being completely wrung out.
I hear you because I
And,
knew a guy. Not to break it up,
no, go ahead.
I knew a guy when I was working at Wawa. Guy, I don't know what he did, but he had a really good job, and he's always in there. He's always drinking a lot of coffee, and the one thing he said was, and this is we're talking 2001, 2002. He's like, yeah, I have a 60-inch TV in 2001 or 2002.
Wow.
Definitely something that most people didn't
It's
have.
insanely huge back. That's
Yep.
one of them big old CRT joints. Yeah.
Yep.
Or
And he said, but I'm always at work
yep.
and I never get to watch
That part.
it. And I'm like, well, if you don't get to watch it, was it worth doing all the work to be able to buy it? Now, that's where my mind comes in. It's like, which would you rather have? The time to relax and do stuff that's more interesting at that point, or is it that you're just going after the one? Just go
You want to watch Netflix in a bad mood.
Yeah.
It's where at 11:30 at night.
Yeah.
With half an eye open.
It's like,
It's ridiculous.
I'm thinking to myself, wow, like, and it's not like it's not like this guy I saw him Monday through Friday. And like, granted, he liked what he did apparently, but the idea was he told me two things were scary as far as that went. His caffeine intake, which was berserk. You've been to Seaside. You know that road that you go on 37.
Yeah.
It just goes from it's 13 miles stretch all the way down from the end of Lakehurst all the way down to the islands themselves, right?
Mm.
There are the small store that I used to work at was there, and he lived in that area in Lakehurst. And at the time, let me see if I can memorize from where it was back then. There was one, two, because it was two small ones. Then they had the big one of the first big ones.
The first big Wawa gas joint.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then there was
Yeah,
a couple on Seaside, that area.
Mm.
What he did was he went to my store. He got a cup of coffee, drank that cup of coffee, went to the next Wawa, got another cup of coffee, went to the next one, and he did it all the way down. And then when he was coming home, he did it all the way back. So my thought process was, the dude's drinking like it was something like ridiculous. Just on the way there and back,
yeah.
he drank 8 cups, and he said all day long he's drinking more coffee.
It's a
So the
fucking heart
dude's
attack.
drinking like
It's a fucking heart attack.
25 cups of coffee a day, and I'm like, and that's what you're doing because all he's doing is chasing the money.
Like, is this sustainable? And that's the thing.
Is it sustainable? Yeah.
And I tell you what, that's an interesting business notion. I don't want to go too far off the tracks, but a lot of people talk about it. It's called, I can't remember the name of it, like rest and burn or something like that. But basically, that's what it is. It's just something that you'll run into in the business world, where you'll have to go. You'll come to a point where you go, I need a certain amount of money for this thing, and I know what it's going to take to get it, and I need it in half the time that I know I'm capable of getting it. So it's like, okay, well, how much pain can I endure for that time? So like, yeah, you can do that crazy caffeine, let your body crash thing. Like, okay, if I have to do that for 6 months to get, let's say, $40,000, $50,000, would I do it? Yes. And the reason why I would do it is because if that, like, say if I need to do this whole triathlon thing for real, I need a freaking $4,000 bike. I need a $2,000. I mean, I need a $200 wetsuit. I need this kind of shoe. I need that kind of shoe. I need this kind of nutrition. Now, if somebody said, like, work for me for 6 months. Nah, I don't know if I work for anybody anymore. But if I came up with a plan, I just couldn't. I have to be at where, what time?
You're telling me what?
Ew.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, if I could come up like, okay, so say if you 6 months, I'm gonna need this much money. Well, let me just bust my ass, super, 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 super hard, and I mean laser focused. You want to be at a point where there's no Facebook, there's no Instagram, there's no social life. There is just you washing your butt, shaving, going to do what you got to do, coming back home with half a brain cell firing, passing out for 8 hours, and getting up and do it again.
Yep, repeat.
For 6 months. 6 months of pain. I mean, I'm talking pure pain. I would be willing to do it, but it must have an expiration date. I can't just be like, well, that's just the way life is. And then I don't get to hold my grandchildren.
And then all of a sudden, 50 years old, you'd have a heart attack.
Exactly. Like I'm not nothing. And like my boss had the same saying that she was saying earlier. Like he's like, what's the point of having a nice big couch when you don't get to sit in it?
Mm-hmm.
Big old TV, you don't get to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
What's the point? Like, so
yeah.
I don't know. Like a lot of people would be willing to do that because if you come from poverty and somebody says, kill yourself for $100,000 in 6 months. A lot of people would do that.
I agree because people would say to themselves, "Hey, I don't want to be back in that same spot that I was in before."
Right.
Now, my whole thing is, rationally, to me, it would be like, all right, I remember what it was like, but I also remember what it did to people who were around in that situation. It's like, okay, I know that I don't have that much money at that point in time, right? And you say to yourself, I'm going to bust my butt in order to get that much money. But to ask yourself the same question, it's like, in the process, like we've been talking this whole time, is the process going to...
How much time were you taking off your life to do this?
Do it, yeah. It's like, because granted, now, if you have, like you said, if you have a deadline, like you said, we're going to go back to the, you need the bike, you need the wetsuit, you need the shoes, the nutrition. That is for a specific date. There is a day coming that you will need to use all of those things, and it will have a purpose and an end game and a goal. You know it's coming.
Exactly.
That makes sense. You go, you do all that, you do all that stuff. Like Ronnie Coleman, the bodybuilder, he would take off 3 months between and when he got back on it, he was on it. But he knew that he had to be on it for that certain period of time.
I mean, you look at him now, but and he's all messed up. But boy, he's a god. He's a god, and it's like.
But he had that mindset, though.
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah,
he was like, okay, I know that the Olympia is coming up now, and I need to peak here, so I need to do all this stuff, kill myself, literally.
Yeah. Literally.
Get to this point, and then I'm ready to go. And after that happens, then I can relax for a little while.
Quick sidebar. Do you hear Ronnie Coleman when you're about to start working out? When you about to start a little bit like you used to feel like wait. Yeah, buddy.
Nothing is better than listening to that and like You think that out of your mind, you're like, man, he's the lightweight, man, that's like half a car. How is that light?
about the leg squat, a freaking van.
The thing that always drove me nuts, and I think to myself, I can't understand it in my mind. I can't. My mind will never get around the fact that he said that he was upset that when he did the I think it was the 800-pound squat, or was it the deadlift? One of the two, some stupid number, right?
Crazy number like
and
that.
he was upset that because first of all, you do that much weight, 99.9% people would expect that to happen once, one rep.
Yeah.
He did it two.
Yeah.
And then he says, I'm a little upset that I probably could have got 4 or 5 out of that. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, right. That was the thing he said to me. Like, he was talking about, like, he was squatting something crazy, like 600-700 pounds. And he said he felt something in his back.
Oh, yeah.
That felt weird. And he was like, oh. I said, I may have to step down the weight. So I stepped down to about 600. I'm like,
yeah. Are you kidding me?
I did that for about 4 or 5 reps, but I still didn't feel right. But I just had to finish out the rep. So I went down about 400, did it for about 20.
And you're like, are you kidding? Yeah.
I remember doing 400 on a Smith machine, and I was bucking. And that's a Smith machine.
Yeah.
It's cheating pretty much. I'm doing all that.
I'll tell you right now, like in my mind, it's like my knees were so bad. I think only before I hurt my back, I started squatting again before I hurt my back. Squatting didn't have anything to do with me hurting my back, just to let you all know. It didn't. But I think to myself, I think the most I ever squatted in my entire life because of my knees from when I hurt myself at 15. I think the most I ever did was like 185.
That's about right. For like just naked with bar.
Yeah.
Just naked with bar. About that. Yeah.
And
about 200. Like I've done 45s and 35s with the bar. So 200. Yeah.
And it makes me laugh when you think about it. Like you heard that popping in your back and you just kept doing what 600
like,
and then 400 pounds.
Like that's a little off.
I mean, are you what kind of a human? You're not human.
You're not. You're a unit. You're a unit. You're literally a unit.
That's why, like, I always laugh when he was talking about the fact that he was a police officer for 15 years. I'm like,
and you would see him. You would just see him.
Yeah. I'm like, I give up.
If you see that come through your door, like if any man has to turn sideways to come through my door,
you win.
You win.
You win.
Gun and crack is upstairs. I mean,
if you need me, I will go get some. I'll be back. I'm gonna go get a heroin. I'm going to go get some heroin, and I'm going to bring it here so you can arrest me.
Yep.
Just because.
Yep.
Like,
go ahead, big man. Can I fit in the back of your squad car with you in it?
Mm-hmm.
Like
I'm going to take this car right here. You're going to follow me to the bank, and I'm going to rob the bank just because I'm going to let you put me away because I don't want any smoke at all.
We're not doing this today.
No, none.
We're definitely not doing this today. But yeah. Now, what the heck would you get? So that's basically the schedule. It's basically 3 on, hour off. 2 sessions of working out a day, and you can't do this with kids. Like I wouldn't like you got Aurora, you got Matt, and you got Maggie. It's like like you can't. I couldn't imagine doing this with 3 kids.
Oh yeah, my workout schedules.
You got a dad. Like
unique. They're very unique because like when I was working, I would go to the gym after I dropped them off at school, and occasionally I would do it on my days off. It didn't matter on my days off. I'd still drop them off, and I would do it. Sometimes I might do 2 a day on my day off because I would have the extra time. I wouldn't have to worry about it so much. Lately, I guess you could say I kind of use a cheat code. It's a weird cheat code. My mom goes to dialysis at just about 6 o'clock in the morning, and so because of that, well, I'm up already, so I can use that as a thing. And then I was smart enough to recently start thinking about going to the gym.
Is the gym near the dialysis center?
Oh yeah. And then I just even switched. Even still, I went from a Y to back to Planet Fitness, and it's just right up by a shop, right? So it's like in out.
I'm thinking about doing it because I go to the Y right now, but the Planet Fitnesses are all over the place. Planet Fitness doesn't have a pool.
No.
So I can't work that. I mean, I could use LA Fitness, but LA Fitness pool is only 4 feet deep.
For your specific workout regimen, you need the Y.
I need the Y, and then or the NAC, which is Newtown Athletic Club. $180 a month for a membership.
That's part of the reason why it's sort of a cheaper thing, and like nobody's been swimming. I don't need this pool. It's like it's just easier for me.
Yeah.
And my Red Hulk tendencies. I can't believe I went I went an entire episode without mentioning the Red Hulk.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Which is
I don't think. Yeah. You
This
know,
is
you
the first,
normally mention
and I just mentioned it now, and realistically, most gyms have me turn to the Red Hulk, and no stranger to that Y that I went to, it would do it all the time. And I mean, I'm
How
sorry,
so?
this one guy. Oh my goodness, that's why I'm so glad I'm not doing it anymore because this one older guy, I believe he's a retired police officer, so there may have been a day that he was in really good shape, and he may have, I hope, in my heart that that's what it is. And he wasn't just one of those guys who just went to work, didn't work out, and any of that stuff. And now that he's older, he's trying to work out. Oh my goodness, he's failing. If I were to have him and record everything he did and show it to a multitude of personal trainers and fitness inspired people, they would hang themselves.
Was it the bad technique or is it?
The technique is so horrible to the point where every single time I try my best not to watch him, and because I'm waiting for him to get hurt. Like it's inevitable. Just like any of those clips you see in those nightmare reels where
Oh
somebody
my
does something
God!
horrible
Like
and they get hurt.
yeah, something
But
terrible. Yeah.
and the good thing is he's not using a whole lot of weight, which is a good thing because he's a little older and he'll probably have as much strength as he used to have back in the day. But to give you a quick example, even my bad shoulders, I can even demonstrate how badly he is working out. A simple chest press, where you would pretty much do your nice even rep, bring it out, not lock all the way out, nice and smooth.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is like this. Not even half rep.
Half repping?
Barely. I'm gonna say it's almost a quarter rep, and
Like,
he's jerking it. And it's
ew.
like,
Does he have any significant weight on it?
Fortunately, I didn't see how much was on there, and I'm glad I didn't because if I had seen that there was anything over 50 pounds, I'd have had to stand up and say, "Yo, brother, you're gonna hurt yourself."
I'm right here for you. You want to go ahead and go for a full
The
rep?
hospital is literally really close. You're gonna need it because
No, I'm not. I'm good.
I'm watching you,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking to myself, "You're gonna hurt yourself." Like I look at the attendants in the Y walking around, they see him doing this stuff. I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" Like even just a little bit. Like I know that you're still trying. You're not the judgment free zone. You're not.
Right.
What do you call it? Planet Fitness. Where if you were at Planet Fitness and you saw somebody doing that, you would have to think that just some part of humanity would say, let me show you how to do this right. Even if you don't do half the reps, you at least do the form right so you don't hurt yourself.
Yeah, I think your gym should have like kind of stepped in. Planet Fitness, I would explain them. I mean, I would expect them not to step in because they're, I've been to a Planet Fitness before. Like, first of all, most people at the Planet Fitness, they're not really gym people,
No.
and you could just kind of see them. Oh God, like now from now, remember they just kind of all have this sort of lost look.
Mm-hmm.
They're on that lower back machine doing that. It's just kind of.
And thus the Red Hulk thing comes in because I'd be like looking at the leg curl and I'm like, I want to do some leg curls, and there's somebody
Yep.
like this.
Yep.
And I'm like, what are you doing?
I'm doing rep.
Come on.
No, I totally get it, bro.
I have 4 sets to do of 12 or 15, or even when I start
I'm
doing my
off
high
in
set,
6 minutes.
I'll be done. Yeah,
I'll be done in 6 minutes.
Like, I'm only gonna rest maybe 30 seconds, 45 seconds in between a set, so I'll be gone.
Yeah, that's why I like going in the morning for that reason, because it's a lot less lunacy in the morning.
Oh, it is. People have thoughts in their head that we want to do this.
Yeah, I have to do this to get to work.
Yeah, and it's like, ooh, that just always Red Hulk emotions come.
Yeah, I mean, I try to work so hard to make my house a gym because for me, like I told you, I'm big financial. I hate subscriptions. Like I have a seething hatred towards subscriptions, car payments, gym subscriptions, whatever. It's a subscription to anything. And I try to do certain things you just can't do in the house. So you have to have a gym. Best time to go to the gym is usually in the morning, because the morning are people who are about their shit.
Yes, they
You might do well in like around between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m.
That's another spot.
That's a good spot too. It's not like you get a lot of soccer moms around that point. Like you get the you get the 5'3" woman driving the Escalade, or the big Tahoe. You get them around that time. You know, that's the style you want to be at. You want to be at a financial level where you can go to the gym on a Tuesday afternoon at 1 o'clock, and your finances aren't affected by that decision.
I mean, let me tell you, like one of the things that I used to do at the I'm gonna say towards the middle of the it's a weird way to put it, middle of the beginning. That's totally a weird thing to say, right? But
I get it.
When I was in 2017, getting ready, just about where I was about to go to the academy, I started trying to do what people consider, I would say, gym people would understand the word. You definitely would. Muscle confusion in certain ways. And the one way that I tried it obviously was I had my rep thing where I would do heavy reps, I would do mid-range reps. So I do stuff that would take me maybe to do 6 to 8 reps, and I do sets of that. Then I would do a different day. It would be a different day where I would do stuff that would be moderate, where I would get to about 12. And then my super high reps were like leg press. I still don't know how or why I did it. And I think to myself, that's why I ended up having ridiculous definition that nobody ever saw because I didn't wear shorts and never took pictures. I had to get that out.
I get it. I get it. My calves are insane from running barefoot.
I had
it's ridiculous.
What do you call it? The definition in my calves was stupid.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I even had the teardrop in my quad.
The trifecta.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is looking great. But I never wore shorts, never took pictures, which is dumb. But I think I recommend that because of the way that I did that confusion. And one of the things that was crazy was the high reps with the leg press.
Yeah. High reps does it well.
I would do 50 reps in a set.
Yeah.
And I would do. This is the crazy part. I felt for my leg because, like I said, my knees and my ankle were so bad. I had surgery on both. I never would have expected that I would be doing 50 reps at 205 on the leg press in my life. And then at one point I got to 215 before I stopped. I'm like, I'm really doing this. I can't believe my legs are holding up for this. But the other thing,
that's actually a really good idea. Like I like that. I did the high rep low weight for a while. It does give definition, and I don't really see and it doesn't really contribute to the breakdown of your joints because the weight is manageable.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that you're really getting is that lactic acid fatigue.
Yep.
That's all you're getting.
And because of my previous occupation as a corrections officer, the one thing that I was concerned with more than strength was muscle endurance. And getting strength training by doing the heavier weights from time to time would give me some strength, but then that high rep stuff is what helped the endurance.
Same.
And it was like that was the golden goose. And then of course the other part of my weird muscle what do you call it?
The confusion thing.
Confusion, yeah. Speaking of confusion, right? I would go late at night, which is when Planet Fitness was open 24 hours, and I miss it for the life of me because I would go in there at 10, and it was like you had a private gym.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it was funny because at the one that I was going to, it was really funny because I would go in there at like 10 o'clock. This one dude who would just be walking out the door, it was the same guy, leaving as I went in, and there was nobody in there the whole time he was there.
Morning, Ralph. Morning,
Sam. When I got finished at like 11, there was another guy coming in at 11 by himself, and we would cross. So it was almost like we went somehow. There was like a secret menu for them, and it's like these are your times that you will get to have exclusivity to the gym, and it is your private gym for this hour.
I wish. Yeah,
and I thought it was great. It worked out like that for 6 months until I eventually stopped doing the overnight thing.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I won't go back to playing because I would love a 24-hour gym sometimes.
I tell you, like in my mind, it's like the perfect idea because it's like okay, here you go. Because like for me, example, like I said, I would go to the gym now when my mom's done from dialysis, and then I would go at least a third time because she would go. She went today, so her schedule is Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and I would go in the morning on both Thursday and well, Tuesday and Thursday, and then Saturday, usually a push with the kids. I usually wouldn't do it, but then I would sneak in 1 or 2 days before I went to go pick them up from school, and I would do it that way.
See, that's how you got to do it. You got to make that way.
Yep.
It's a tough thing.
But now, speaking of that, we're going to transition to that shoulder, that pain stuff. What have you been doing to manage your pain? Because that is a big time thing, and I tell everybody when it comes to working out, when it comes to getting in shape, you got to manage the pain. And there's going to be times where you're going to have shoulder issues, you're going to have neck. Me, I don't even understand how it happened, and I feel so horrible about it. Like, I think I might have mentioned it in March. I don't know what happened. Like, I've been a few months after my bicep repair, and I go to lay down in bed, and all of a sudden I feel something weird in my neck, and I'm like, oh, this is not good. Back already hurts, hips already bad, and now the neck just did something funny, and then all of a sudden I started getting pins and needles in my left arm,
Shit, you got
and I'm like, this is not good. I go see my back doctor because I was going to go see him anyway, and I told him, well, my back is at normal, which is not normal, 6 from that scale where you say, oh, how does your pain feel from 0 to 10 being the worst ever? I walk around at 6. So if I'm at 6, at this point, everything's fine.
This is the bar where I'm at.
That's where we're at.
This is my level of decay. Is where this is at.
A couple days ago, I was at 8 and I was miserable, but it cut back down to 6, so we're good. that's a weird way to live life. But with that shoulder thing, finally I went to him and he gave me some things and I took some medicine and I did some stretching and it ended up being that I have arthritis in my neck. Thank God it wasn't broken or anything weird like that, but it's between, I think he said it was either C4 and C3 or C4 and C5 where the arthritis is at. And I'm like, I get it. When you're throwing a shot put, there it is.
Sure.
And it's over on this side
and
where you're leaning.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I get it.
Yep.
I bought that.
That's crazy.
It's just a receipt for it. And then the other thing, at first, some people think, oh, it's a heart attack warning when you start feeling weird stuff going down your left arm.
Well, I was hearing the neck thing. I was a little worried about heart attack stuff.
But fortunately, that's really all it is. And just it's like a nerve thing going on. And not that it's better or worse. Like, do you like having that weird nerve pain, or do you want to consider yourself maybe you ought to go to the emergency room for a heart attack? Neither one's the best. But if I had to pick one, I'll keep the nerve pain. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I can manage pain better than I can open heart surgery.
I learned a lot of my pain management, interestingly enough, well, from 2 sources. First, like I said, I was listening to your podcast, and because I remember when we talked about this before, when we did the first podcast, I had never been injured. I've never been hurt. But since then, I've been hurt 3 or 4 times. Oh. So I was listening to how you said it, and I remember you said it to me in the podcast. You was like, listen, you take it one day at a time. You take it very slowly. And I got that in my head. That worked. And then I have quick cheap plug. My friend Paulie, she has a.
I've seen a bunch of your
reviews
of that. Her.
It's an interesting thing because she is a physical therapist, but she also she does clinical massages, and it's really important to differentiate the difference between a clinical masseuse, a person who's actually zooms in on a part of your body that something's wrong with and works to fix it, is not the same as the weird Asian happy ending type of massage. And so that's a person. And that person is as good as a chiropractor. That person, a person that knows how to fix a certain part of your body. I'm gonna say better than a chiropractor, because a chiropractor, all they're doing is they're fixing that one spot, and then the one spot begins to degrade, and you have to go back to them in like a week or so.
Yeah.
This person, what she will do, she'll work that problem, and then she'll give me exercises and routines to work with that injury and sort of nurse it back. And so far, her her recovery times have been accurate. I haven't been able to lift weights. That's been killing me. I haven't been able to lift weights for 3 weeks. She said, yeah, it's going to take you about 3 weeks for that shoulder. Don't do nothing with that shoulder for about 3 weeks. And I tried this, 2 weeks in, I tried to do a push-up or something like that.
Whoa.
Felt the twinge. Yeah. I'm like, damn it. But then here it is. It's week 4. And I'm okay. The gold standard, like you were talking about, you had this one short. and where you had a like a 10 pound or 15
Oh,
pound
it
weight,
wasn't even that
and
much.
you were just curling it.
Yep.
You was like, yeah,
I did it.
I did it, and I was just like, yeah, I guess that's where you go down to. But now
Yep.
I'm at a point where like I have this is a 5 pound weight. I know I'm okay when I can do this without it hurting. It kind of teeny little bit hurts, so I got like maybe another couple days to a week,
Yep.
and I'm okay with
It's
that.
yeah, exactly.
It's
Because
getting
it's progressing.
It's
The
progressing.
thing that you don't want to know is like, well, the thing I guess you could say it's pain is a nice thing in some ways because it tells you,
It is.
okay, don't do that anymore. Or it tells you, oh, it's getting better. It's not as much pain as it used to be. You can move a little bit
And
more.
you can gauge it
Yeah.
just a little bit. Let's play around with it, and that's what I want to do. I want to get. I don't like. I've been ever since I learned the high rep thing a couple of years ago too. With David Goggins and everything. And I'm a high rep guy. Like even when I'm doing my chest press, I used to be that guy. 225,
Load it up with the
250,
plates and
roots.
just yeah.
And all that bull crap. Nah, I back that joint down to about like what am I doing, like 135, 120, like 135, 125. I usually do 235s in the bar or 245s in the bar. I'll max rep that for about maybe 10 to 15, 1 minute rest.
Yeah.
All I'm doing, my goal is, remember when you were 20, I'd be the biggest and I'm raw, all that crap. Now it's just, will I be able to do 10 push-ups at 80?
Yep.
Can I do 10 push-ups at 80? I'm good with that.
You're even better than me. My whole thing is, can I open that 2-liter bottle of soda when I'm 50?
Fucking talk. Because that's the whole, y'all don't even realize, you young
it's
people,
a thing.
Like, you'll get to a point where you'll be thanking God you can do this.
Yep. Oh, you will. There's no question about it.
All that stuff I just did. Articulation in your wrist. Wait till the articulation in your wrist goes.
I mean, I'm telling you now, like one of the things is I'm glad that I'm ambidextrous and I can use my left hand. I use most of my time. I do things right-handed a lot of times, but I can just switch and use left whenever I really want to. A lot of times, right?
That's actually pretty awesome.
After that bicep tear, that did something fierce to my right hand dexterity. Like I don't know if I showed you this.
You had the thing where you couldn't close the fist. You could put the pen through.
I could put the pen all the way through it, and
right.
This is as tight as my fist is, and I could put a pen all the way through it.
That's crazy.
Like the other one, nope. Like that's why, like I said, everybody, if I'm getting into a fight with somebody, you can guarantee two things: you are not getting punched in the face.
I remember you said that. You was like, I think I'm with you too. Like man, you said it. I think a couple podcasts ago. You was like, yo, I got one.
Yep, I got one.
Like if I gotta fight for my, that was some man shit. Excuse my friend, that was some man stuff. Like, yo, I gotta fight for my daughter or something. Got one more in me.
I got one. That's it.
I'm about there too. Like, first of all, why am I? First of all, I don't. That's not part of my life trajectory. I don't want any anything that's going to stop me from doing the things that I want to do, then that's a no right there.
Yeah.
But if you get me to the, like you say, the Red Hulk, man, look.
I know I can do it once. That's it. Just don't be that one.
I don't want to, man. All right, here we go. Okay. Because if I want to, I'm going to be real pissed if I wind up in jail for something stupid.
Oh.
Like, it's something dumb. Don't go to jail. Like,
yeah. Because I think about that all the time. It's like, man, like in that situation, if there's just something going on, it's like, man,
it's got to be a lot.
It's got to be. It's got to be. Like, it's not like those things going back to the 20s. It's not like those things in the 20s. Oh, you said something. Nah, I ain't doing that.
What? Oh, I'm a motherfucker? Oh, okay. So I guess I am.
Yep.
I guess I am.
None of that. Like, you literally have to do something to one of my kids, the wife, me, physically to do it. And then I would have to go there. If it didn't absolutely positively, and even if it was to a certain point, it would have to be even so far to that point. Like there was a thing that we had in corrections, I think just law enforcement in general, the force continuum, the amount of force that you can use at certain points. At this point in time, there is, I only have 2. There used to be there's 7 levels, right? I have 2.
Like I think
we go to the point where it's like the show of force is if I can't get you off me by talking to you, there's the top, the lethal force. We
we're
we can't go in
right
between.
now.
Because if we start messing with that stuff in between, that's when whatever I do to you is going to hurt me more than it's going to hurt you
Right.
physically. So I'm like, if I don't have to do something to you, I'm not gonna. It's like I'm just not.
Patrice O'Neal had a great joke. He was talking about that. He was saying, so I couldn't be nothing else but a comedian. Because he was saying, can you just imagine if I was like TSA? This is a little bit after 9/11, so that was big. But he was like, just imagine if I'm like TSA, I'm airport security, and they'd be like, it's somebody getting robbed in gate 23. Well, I'm at gate 2. It's like, yeah, I need you to get to gate 23. You're the closest one. He's like, what you think I'm gonna do when I get there? I ain't gonna be shit when I get there.
No, and you see, that's always the problem. Like in the jail, when there would be something happening, it never fails that whenever it happened, you're the farthest possible place from it, and it's like in the way it was set up. Like I think in my mind, I believe there was like 16 or 17 officers. I can't remember off the top of my head that are officers on the block, and then there's maybe about 15 or 20 that are loose, and they're in their certain spots
in different doors and stuff.
Yeah, and those are the only people that can go. And if one of those other people is busy doing something else, and you're the farthest, like I'll never forget. This is one of those rare jail stories that I can actually tell. There was a guy who was in the med lobby, getting ready to go to because he did something stupid. I can't remember what it was, and somebody cuffed him up and they left him in the med lobby. And then somebody called. There was a call for a fight that happened in the farthest tower of the jail. Everybody who was around me at the point in time, I was my post was a bid post. It was my spot, like always going to be there. Was this one corridor A by the door, right? And it was right by the med lobby. Then there's a corridor B and a corridor C. Everybody ran. I took half a step, and then the managerial mindset, 40-ish person that I was kicked in, and it said to myself,
everybody's handling this right now.
if I leave, right? Because if I leave, this guy who's in cuffs is gonna be alone. Somebody's gotta watch this guy.
Yep.
But nobody thought of it. Everybody else, the sergeant, they just ran. And I'm like,
Michael,
this guy right here,
hey,
we're gonna put him in the hole because of something he did. So you're gonna just let him sit here with nobody watching him? And I'm like, that don't make any sense.
That make no sense.
Yeah, so
and it's smarter. It's smarter, and it keeps you safe. And you're doing your job. I did that before when I was at the casino when I worked security. And somebody ran their car into the back and it pinned an older person down. That person died sadly. But there was a lot going on. But I was all the guards were coming to fix that situation. But I was on the money detail. There's they go to fill up the TRM machines or whatever, and it's like $1.5 million in that cart
sitting there.
And there's me.
Yep.
And I'm just. Well, I can't leave this money on an active floor.
I mean, exactly. I can't do it. And my thing was the sergeant didn't even think to say anything. He ran out there. I'm like, dude, where are you going? And then of course that's where my mindset was like, yeah, this is exactly why I don't want to be in management at all anymore as far as this stuff goes, because I'm going to be that guy who's going to have to yell at somebody, don't go, you stay here. They're already going.
Yeah.
We need somebody to watch this, and for more reasons than one. Because like I said, this one lieutenant, well, she became a lieutenant, was saying, oh, you need to become more security minded when I first started, because I had never done anything security wise at all until I started working in the jail. And at that point in time,
what do you mean by security minded? Like just because you didn't.
I needed to think about what was around me. Because I really wasn't, I had the ability at one point where I was usually watching around, I would see things, but I wouldn't make mental notes of things that I saw or people who were doing weird stuff. And I guess I put it in a combination of a person who's not originally a city guy, who wasn't really doing a lot of that stuff.
I was out in
Jersey suburbs, beaches,
cool.
never thinking about stuff like that. And now here I am in a jail where there's dudes who are probably walking around with janks that you don't even know about. Sure. And you don't know what they're thinking. And
I couldn't imagine.
One of the thought processes that somebody had said that after she said that, and that was in the beginning, when I was still a rookie at that point, somebody said, sometimes a fight isn't just a fight. It can be a distraction. The fight isn't the incident.
I've always thought
whatever they do, they're doing, right? But that fight is to draw everybody to it, so that whatever's really going to happen happens when nobody's around.
Quietly and efficiently.
And well, in your case, right, that person who unfortunately killed that older person in the parking lot, right? Who knows? That could have been somebody saying, "Let's create chaos,
Let's create chaos
push everybody this way,
so we can
and
get to
now
this
we can get
thing.
to this
Yep.
thing."
And all that's protecting, all that's stopping you and $1 million is a tiny padlock. And I'm holding the key.
Yep.
Like
One dude. Like people like, and that was the one thing. If I got nothing from working in the jail besides stress, I got the thought process of thinking that step ahead. It's like when there is an emergency,
Yeah,
you need to slow down just a little bit, because yes, you want to react to the emergency, but you need to, like, they constantly preach it and not everybody listens to it. And it's like you need to think, you need to stop, you need to relax. Like even when you're calling in the situation, you need to slow down, catch a breath, tell what's going on, so that everybody's clear about the situation.
That was such a crazy job you took. That was insane. Like, you know, you hear about, I hear about, and I know who you are, and I know what prison is.
Yep.
And it's like, yo, I couldn't have done it. I surely couldn't have done it.
It's
too much.
It is. There's so much to it, and like I said, I put more into it than some, and I'm gonna say that with pat myself in the back, and I'm gonna also say on the converse, I probably didn't put as much in it as others, because like I said, there were people who were more advanced and they wanted to go further in their careers and they wanted to do stuff. Because at my age, I look at it this way. I was talking to my mom the other day. Quite literally, next year would be 2027. I was planning on retiring anyway. That was it. I only had a 10-year run in my mind. I had no aspiration to get stripes, didn't want to become a lieutenant, didn't want to become a captain, didn't want any of that. All I wanted to do is essentially
make that time and be out.
Exactly.
Yep.
Do what I had to do.
I'm right there with you.
Yep.
I would have trained like, you know, I've been listening to your podcast. I would have trained like you would have. I would have said like, okay, let me get my physical in shape. I would have had no idea of how to get my mental in shape. That would have to be there. Because I'm a la-di-da type. I'm like you said, I was always very much a la-di-da type of guy too. Like, you know, I'm not noticing stuff. Like I was, you know, born and raised in the streets. I would see people running. That's none of my business. I'm gonna look that way. You know,
like at this point in time, like not to go off too far off on this, but like, and it's stuck there now. It's stuck. Like there's two things I could tell you that are never probably gonna leave me for the rest of my life. Some people could probably consider it what do you call it? PTSD. Never really think about it, but it possibly is. Number one, right, is what I saw when I first got into the jail. There were people who were on blocks, and I would be talking to them because they were telling me all different things about what was going to happen, how to do the job, right? And
talking about guards on blocks, not
guards on blocks.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a quick demonstration. I know that you people aren't going to be able to see it, but Mr. Houston here, Pat, he will see what I'm doing, and when he sees it, he's going to be like, "That is really weird." Now, here it is. I'm right now talking to you completely, listening to everything that you're saying, right? But truthfully, what my attention is fixed on is both what you would be saying right now, and I'm looking at the sink, I'm looking at the stove. I can tell you right now it's 5:29 on the clock. On the other side, the light's on, but it might be about to blink pretty soon. I can see that your desk is still right over here. Yolanda has that picture on the wall that I actually used for our show. I'm looking at everything else. It's like 1,000 miles there. I just looked straight ahead. From what you could see, I was looking straight ahead.
Yep, you just kind of had this going
and I'm
on.
looking at everything else, and I'm paying attention to you all at once. And I was thinking to myself, this is the weirdest thing that these people are doing.
I love how you said that, and the lights just blinked.
Until 2 years later, I realized I was doing it too. Like 1,000 mile stare. Like you don't even realize it happens because there's just so much around. And you need to pay attention to the person who's right in front of you, because like I said, if somebody's trying to, because they'll do that too, they'll come up to your desk and they'll start talking to you. Meanwhile, somebody is drugged into a cell and having who knows what done to them. So you're sort of scanning the peripheral, and the thing is weird because you hear everything they say, but you're also looking at 90% of what's going on.
Yeah, you're just...
And it's just a strange thing.
That's a trip. I've always found that prison guard thing so interesting. I couldn't do it.
And the other one is just almost the same, where I'm just walking casually and not even paying any attention, and I notice stuff. Just notice it. Like literally, we'd be just talking, just walking down the street right now, and I'd see, oh, that guy's got a gun. That person over there just put their hand in their pocket. Don't know why, and I would notice this stuff. Like,
I get it. I was like that when I was security guard at the
Yep.
parks. Like I remember the one casino was getting built. This is out in Pittsburgh, and I wasn't even a security guard then. I just got hired for TDN at the time, and I still had security guard brain. And it was a guy who he just was walking. The casino wasn't open,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a guy who was walking around. I was like, "Yeah, how you doing? Am I talking to me?" That's what he said to me. He's like, am I talking to me? What is this? How are you? Am I talking to me? And he was just kind of saying that to me, and he just walked away and just kind of like staggered off somewhere. And then I just kind of happened to find like somebody that looked like they were in charge. I was like, "Hey, that guy right there. Something's up with that guy. Like I think he might be having a stroke or might be drunk or something." And he was like, and he went to go check the guy out or whatever. And he was like, well, yeah, that was a test. And the guy came back to me. He was like, this was a test. I'm this from this agency, and I'm basically here to see if people will notice things that are out of place. And I'm like, oh, I was like, well, I don't work here. I'm here building this machine or whatever.
I have nothing to do with that.
None of the guards saw it but me. And I'm like, this dude, this is not okay. Like,
that's the problem, because you see, that's another one of those things. Because now you brought up another sore spot, because there'd be times when I'm in stores and I'm seeing stuff and the guards are not paying attention.
Yeah.
My favorite one ever, and I'm thinking to myself, my goodness, if their boss came by, they should have been fired immediately.
I remember you were talking about the pump story on the Wawa thing. That was crazy on the Fact or Fiction.
Yeah, that was really bad.
That was bad. But anyway, go ahead.
But this dude was a security guard, full bulletproof vest, gun and everything, right?
Excuse me.
He didn't have as far as the gun goes, like the ones that we had at the jail, they had those really cool ones that snapped in. You had to actually physically pull it out in order to stab it out, right? He had the gun holster that had just a little snap on the outside that you had to pull off and then pull it out.
Mm-hmm.
Dude was walking around in Walmart. I don't know if he was off duty, on duty. Doesn't really make any difference. He still had his gun, which means that there are certain things that you own a gun, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's certain things that you need to do when you have a firearm, and one of them is make sure that sucker is secure.
Mm-hmm.
And that snap was loose. It was dangling in the wind, and I'm like, okay. Going over my mind, the scenario started going in there, because that's what my mind does now. It's like, okay, it's me who saw this. I'm not going to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
But what if that guy over there made him mad at one point, and now he sees him,
right?
And he's walking, not paying any attention, not doing anything, like not walking bladed, because he's got the gun on his hip, and there was nothing but aisles on the other side, so anybody could just grab it.
Sure, it's right there.
It's right there. I'm thinking to myself, I'm standing right behind you. I'm like, I wasn't right on top of him. I was maybe like 5 feet away, but the closing distance, if I had wanted to, I could have gone right up to him, pulled the gun out of his holster, shot him twice in the back of the head, and then just caused all kinds of havoc.
Yep.
He wasn't paying any attention. He was just tiptoeing through the tulips. And I'm thinking to myself, brother, if I was your boss and I had the authority to fire you, you'd be fired.
Right there on the spot.
On the spot.
That's just...
Because
I call it, that's just carelessness, right?
Totally, because whether you were working or not, if you were off duty, that's 10 times worse, because you're still fired, because you're still in the place.
My thing was like, why was it off? Like, was it one of those things where maybe it just kind of slipped or something like that, or was it like was he about to do something?
He was just, like I said, he was tiptoeing through the tulips, just pushing his cart. He was doing whatever. He was totally oblivious. He had no idea.
I hate when that happens.
And like I said, it's not like one of those ones like we had in the jail, the ones where you had to pull it out on a specific angle. So if somebody was trying to grate you, they weren't going to just be able to yank it right out.
Interesting.
They would have to work at it a little bit. So you would be real quick to be able to stop it. But,
so what was holding it back? Like the trigger part, there was probably like a part in the holster that held the trigger part, so you had to literally go up and then out.
Yes.
Very interesting.
Yep, that's the way those went.
That's brilliant for a prison CO. Sure.
And these things here are just like, that one was just leather down, just dangling. You know what those things are like. All it is whoop,
it's just whoop, and then the snap. That's it. Yeah.
The only thing holding that gun in place is that snap. And that snap ain't on there, there ain't nothing stopping it.
Gravity can shoot.
Yep.
Honestly.
And I saw that and I was like, man, if somebody, then I realized, wait a minute, this is not going away. This is like after I retired, I realized this is not gonna ever go away.
It's a good thing to have, though.
And I think
it's
it
a
is
real good thing to have.
because, like, I don't know if I mentioned it. Again, I'm doing more talking than I should, but on this subject, I saw that a guy outside my house, not this for some reason, try not to get into politics. Everybody tries not to get into politics. But
So
I will just say this: I am not voting for Mayor Parker. I didn't vote her for the first time, and I definitely won't vote for her now.
I've heard a lot. I'm getting a lot of mixed reviews down here in Philly about that lady. But whatever.
I'm just gonna say that from my perspective, she has made my life worse. And part of it was this guy, like, you know, the area that I live in. It's nice, great. There's outdoor areas. It's clean, but since a certain person's agenda to clean out a certain spot, there have been a certain element of people.
Oh no, you getting back sugar from that?
Yes.
That far though?
Mm-hmm.
You're so far away. You're almost up here by me.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
And
I mean, well, I'm getting it though, so yeah, maybe, yeah.
It was so bad to the point where I have 3.
I remember you told me the once. Not you told me the story, but it was the story in the podcast about the guy on your
on my porch,
on your front that you had to like rip him up and like
I literally had to beat him with
a
stick.
Yeah, you had to beat him with a stick. That was hilarious to stick with the whole story.
I literally had to beat him with a stick.
Yeah, y'all gotta really listen to his podcast. He got some interesting stories when it comes to that stuff.
The other guy was like before that, like I think it was maybe a few months before that, like a year, not even a year, because it was like that one happened in 2024, and then the guy that I had to beat away with a stick was 2025. So we're talking within 6 months, give or take. The most, it was no more, because no, it was about we'll call it a year, because that guy that I'm talking about now was in 2024, and I had to tell him I had to save his life. Period. It was what I did. I had to save his life because him and his girlfriend obviously were on something. Don't know what it was. I can only imagine that it involved a needle. And we were just sitting there watching. I forget that show we were watching. We were watching The Witcher, the series The Witcher, and of course there goes that CO mindset, looking around everything, windows open, and I'm looking outside and I see this guy walking around with his girlfriend, and he's clearly just stumbling. He's doing the leaning thing that they do when they're on that stuff, and I'm watching him across the street. Now you know how like there's those 4 corners essentially, where my house is, and there's the other house, and then with the house on the other corner. I guess it was
diagonal way, yeah.
And I'm watching as he's still leaning, and then he goes and he lays down, and I'm like, he's going to die. And I'm like, at that point in time, I'm like,
God, why'd you have to let me see this?
Why?
God, why'd you have to let me? Is this my thing that I have to do?
Now I've got to do something. Like I'm thinking to myself, like, I see this. The other people who are at the house, they don't see it or don't care.
Sure, they're not paying attention. They're on the TV or whatever. Yeah.
And I'm like, now I gotta save this guy's life. So immediately I go and unfortunately I have like these gloves, like special, what do you call it? Usually in the jails a lot of times between rubber gloves and
it's not
the auto shop gloves.
Yeah, it's a little bit thick. It's like the auto shop gloves.
Literally, actually, auto shop gloves, specifically auto shop gloves.
Yolanda has those around too. Yeah.
Grabbed them, threw them on, went outside, put them in recovery position, called 911, and they came and they Narcaned him up. I told them the whole deal. It's like I was watching this guy for like 10 minutes. He started leaning, and then he fell over, and then I came out, put him in recovery position. And over there, I pointed on the other side, I guess that's his girlfriend or whoever it is, but she was with him, and she is no better. And of course, they went over to her, and she was like, I don't want anything, because her high was still going, and she was okay with it. She didn't pass out like he did. So of course, he was upset when he woke up because the Narcan got him going, and there goes all the money he just injected with himself, and he's mad about that. But she was still high, and he was yelling at her because she was still high. And I think to myself,
near your house?
Near my house.
That's near your house?
And I'm like, and then this other person has now moved in again at the CVS by my house. And then my other favorite guy, No Shirt Man, I call him. Because first time I saw him was in March, and I knew that it was around the same time, it was in March, of 2025. So this is about the same time as the other guy who went on my porch, which was in July. So it's like the influx was coming. That's what it was. And at first I thought that he just moved in and he just walked around. He didn't wear a shirt all day in the summer, right? Until I saw him one day at Wawa, and I'm like, okay, because he's yelling at the clouds. And I realized that at first I thought that he lived at this one house because I seen him just laying in the driveway. So I guess this is where No Shirt Man lives. Okay, fine, cool. People can just lay in the driveway. It was nice new paved driveway, so I figured he just wanted to sit there and relax and just sunbathe, right? Until I realized that he was walking towards an area that is now becoming what was when I was talking to the police officer. It's kind of like becoming a homeless encampment. He was walking. He always saw him walking towards that way or from that way, and now putting two and two together.
Is that what you were saying? Where it's behind the? I don't want to place your address, but
yeah.
directly where you in that area behind the. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
wow. I mean, I can see that with
you
that
can
area.
see it. Yep. And it's like, and that's why I'm not voting for her, because her brilliant agenda was to just take a broom and just sweep everybody down.
And all it is, the problem just moved its way up Allegheny. I didn't like the fact that she wanted to tear apart Chinatown for the Sixers stadium.
That was, I mean, that to me, that gutted me. I think to myself, like,
how'd you let the trash thing go that far? Like, how'd you let that go that far? Like, I you know, and you want to, and I hate to make anything racial or anything, but you want to root for the first black woman mayor. Yes. Wow. That's awesome. But
then,
but like, show up.
Yeah.
Show up.
Please.
You know, again, I'm not even from Philly anymore. Like, you know, I see it. I'm 2 towns over from Philly. So it's like
you can see it.
And you could, like, I would go into Philly and I would just start. I would see the dumpsters and I'd be like, "Yo, you doing something wrong, man. You doing something
something
why,
so wrong.
Why you can't? I mean, I know these trash people want to squeeze you. Anyway, we don't want to get too much into this, but
because there are a couple other things we want to talk about. Well, there's really one more thing, and then we can do some other little things, and that is going back to your newfound faith at this point. You've gotten yourself a nice new church that you've been going to for the last several months. Seems like you've got a nice pastor.
Good guy. Reverend Tony Anthony Fobbs. Really young guy, our age. You're 40, between both of us. I'm 42, you're 47.
Yep.
He's 45.
That's pretty cool.
So it's pretty cool to have. I like these new friends, to have like friends that did something. Like they did something for, you know, he was in this church as a boy. He went through the whole ranks of deacon, went to the I forgot what school he said he went to, got canonized, all that other good stuff, and then he's a pet. Wow, that's awesome. You want to learn about somebody like that. But anyway, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're absolutely right. That's exactly what I wanted to hear, because he's the person I wanted to talk about, because just like the pastor of one of the, as I like to call, the triangle of churches, that if I ever won a lottery, which of course every once in a while, even though I said I wasn't going to play, if it gets big enough,
sometimes you play.
I might put that $2 in there.
$2, yeah. Like,
I've already split my tithes money amongst 3 places, and that would be Mount Zion Baptist Church. What's that? Oh, yeah.
That didn't work. It's too far away. Anyway, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I would split my tithes money between either Mount Zion Baptist, well, not even between, it'd be between Mount Zion Baptist Church, Faith Fellowship in Philadelphia, and what is newly coined Life Changing Ministry. It used to be Community Baptist Church, but
Community on 40th and Spring Garden?
No, actually, this is one in it was in New Jersey, in Manchester.
Okay, in your old stomping grounds. Yeah.
And the pastor there was the last church that my mother was a member of at this point in time, and he's our age. I think he's literally my age. I think he just turned 47.
Yeah, that's a cool age.
And I think it's really neat, because in my mind, when I think about that, I'm like, wow, you know what? The guy that I called Yoda, the pastor that I learned a lot of stuff from, that I went over to his house a dozen times, he was 48 in that time range when he was really showing me a lot of stuff. So I think that's really kind of neat.
Yeah, he's real
in that
prime.
age.
Yeah,
he's
like
right there.
He's and this is the only church I ever went to. Like, cause, you know, I had this whole thing where. So long story short, I try to keep this short as possible, but I got to this whole point where I wanted to start researching religions, and the reason why I wanted to restart researching religions was because, like we were talking about, there, everybody has their own truth. There has to be some sort of governing law to go by, and the one thing I liked about Christianity is Christianity's like, listen, I get it, you're screwed up, you're screwed up. Here's these rules. Every religion has the same, not the same book with the same rules, but they have a book of rules that you follow. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
But what makes Christianity so good is like, listen, we're going to accept you how you are, here's the way you can aspire, but these other religions, they look at you and you're never going to be there. You're always going to be ever aspiring. But here it's like you're forgiven. Keep to these things, you're forgiven. Here's a person who was perfect. A person who was born into flesh that did everything right. Could you imagine doing everything right? Could you imagine every sinful, lustful thought, you not having it? Could you imagine every greedy thing, you not having it? Could you imagine your ego just being like, you're God?
That's
and you
what's
just,
so cool about the two covenants. The first one and the one after Jesus' death, because that first one is impossible. It's hard to say it like that, but as a human being, we can't fulfill that.
No.
We can't. And the thing that makes it so cool that we can't fulfill it is the fact that when you realize one simple thing, you'll understand how impossible it was for us to do it without Jesus' birth and death.
Right.
Because that one simple thing was, if I cannot remember what verse it is. That's the only other problem.
I'm terrible with Bible verses too. I'm just getting them.
Like I said, I've been literally from the cradle all the way up. My mother and grandmother took me to the churches, and I am literally, as they would consider it, almost church royalty, if you want to call it.
You were saying that, yeah. You were saying that, like you're generational.
Yes. My
great
grandfather was one of the first deacons at Mount Zion Baptist Church. My grandmother was and her siblings were the first kids at the church.
Wow.
And we moved on like that. I think it's been 5 generations or 6 generations of my family has walked through those doors.
That's insane.
But the whole thing is, the thing that you learn about that first covenant is there is a problem that we can't solve. And that is, yes, we're going to sin, we're going to fall short of the mark. That's Paul was right about that. It's a fact. But the thing that's crazy is, with the law, which is, of course, it's not just the 10 Commandments.
There's the whole Torah part of it, the law. Like we're not even going to go in through them, but there's 620 of them, something like that.
The problem with it is that we can't possibly survive. There's little things, and the big thing is what makes it so difficult for us as human beings to even come close to that is once you're guilty of one, you're guilty of all. So it's like, so you can't, there's no way that you can avoid it because that's just what we are as humans. We're gonna do something.
Right.
And that's why, for him to have been perfect, to be able to do all of that.
All of that.
Yeah.
He had all the things. He did all the things. A lot of people, they get really heavy on, the things that he did. The fasting, the being tempted, the real temptations.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, wow. There's a template, and that's a beautiful thing. You sit there and listen to the Sermon on the Mount, and you really get into it. You can run your life with that. You can really run your life with that. You can turn around. Hey, if your eye causes you to sin, gouge it out. People go like, whoa, why are you using so much hyperbole? No, it's not hyperbole. If you're on Facebook and that same girl comes showing that same cleavage, or you watching that same guy get messed up, whatever piece of violence that you're watching that makes you go, yeah, and you're in it, that you shouldn't have that. Delete it. People get to and it's so hard to do. Even I remember the one hyperbole they used, and I don't want to go too deep into it, but the one thing he was using, he was basically talking about, it said that you should not kill, but I say go even further to not even call people. It says raka. Or call people a fool, or call people a name. So if you call people, look at this asshole right here, and then you go, you can't even do that. That is worse to God than killing. because you just made that person a subhuman. You made that person less than you by using a curse with your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Holy, wait. So let's back this up.
Yep.
Everybody that pisses you off, everybody that does anything, any kind of poor slight to you, 100% love. 100% you are my brother. 100%, you might have just. Long story short, let me keep with the subject. You might have just killed my son.
Mm-hmm.
I still gotta love you.
That's my favorite thing. I always like to use this as a disclaimer for that particular thing. It's like at his death, which we don't necessarily know when it was. Conspiracy theory.
Sure.
Totally different.
Sure.
If Adolf Hitler stopped and said, "God forgive me for what I've done,"
is that it?
He's saved.
Is that it?
That's it.
And a lot of people don't like that because it's like, well, what about? But
doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
That's the way he set it up. Like,
and that's powerful.
Yep.
That's
that guy.
And there's a
be
person,
forgiven for
and there's
that.
a lot of people that look at that. They'll go like, well, I mean, I can be an asshole my whole life and repent on my deathbed.
But
no,
you don't know.
No, you can't.
That's the
You
problem.
never know
you
when
don't
you're
know
gonna
when you're gonna die.
And then here's these rules that if you really look at them, they teach you how to be a perfect human.
You won't do that.
They
stuff.
literally, you won't do that if you see it. If you already know that he did that for you, and you see all this other stuff that he was talking about, why would you do that?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, why would you do that? So I got into it. I to emulate, like, very long story short, I had a guy in my car on the same day. Literally, I had a woman die in my car.
Oh.
It was she didn't die actually in the car, but she died shortly after my ride. Long story short, I had to take her. And I could see, you know how you can see when somebody's about to go, you can see the white, she was white, and the white around her eyes was like extra pale, and she kept coughing. And like, I'm trying to walk her to a thing, she kept collapsing, she had her son with her son was crying, it was insane. Oof. And, it was that, I don't know if you ever looked at Rick and Morty, but it was this scene from Rick and Morty where they went through something, and they both get inside the spaceship, and they just start crying, they just start railing, oh my God, what the hell was that? Ah! So I started doing that. And then I got another guy who got molested when he was a child, and he went and he just got out of jail because it was like 15 years later. He just got out of jail because of course he went back and he killed his assailant. Yeah. And then after that I met this guy. His name was literally Mister. I never got his name. His name was Mister. And I was just talking to we get to talking about people and stuff like that. He's very God charged and everything. And I just had that day. I decided to make quota. Systems don't matter to emotions. So like, and he just is like, he started talking about Jesus. Like, you really look at Jesus like, if you just emulate that, that's a good life right there. You don't got to do too much after that. And I was just like, yeah. A couple weeks later, I went to this church right next to my house. Pastor. Pastors, when they get up on that pulpit, they spit game. Yep. They spit game. They make your head bleed. That's what I call it. They make your head bleed. Like, yo, what was that?
Where'd that come from?
Right? Yeah. Oh, man, I've been messing up. So then you, you go again and again, and you start to realize beyond God's law, which is immutable, which is, which you want to hold on to as tight as you can, you realize that Christians, usually church people, are the nicest people. They're the most loving. Where else are you getting that in today's world? Loving people who actually care about you, that are not your family, and they don't have any vested interest, but they love you. They love you, and they want to see you do good. Genuinely. Yeah. Like, you don't get that too many other places. No. So it's like, that's awesome. And then you get the idea, you get the whole added benefit. Wait a minute, Christianity is the biggest religion in the world, and all these people are doing, is trying to get people to move like Jesus and save the world. Like, you realize how much progression it is if there's just cooperation, if there's just this governing set of rules that people don't kill each other by. And we can just follow that. You get as many people just follow that. Boy, the world would be so much better.
It would.
It's just a nice part. It's just a nice thing to be a part of. You know, like okay, yeah, you know, I might have my issues. I might, you know, call somebody rock. I might have a meltdown, but it's okay because I slipped up and I apologize and I can keep going. And that's a great life to live.
Agreed.
It's a great life to live. And so from there, I just was like, well, I always wanted to teach. I always wanted to help a lot of people, and I always wanted to teach. And then initially, I was thinking about going to teach at a public school. I was gonna, about 46, I was gonna just go get my 4 year degree, and then just start teaching at a school. And that was gonna be how I would build my community. Hopefully, I would get some students, and then the students would know me 10, 20 years later. You know, maybe some work for me. I had a whole plan. You know, a whole 30
And
year
that makes
plan.
a lot of sense
Right.
because a lot of times teachers, they will, that's, even to this day, there's teachers that I think about and I'm like, man,
It's that
that's
guy.
really that
Everybody
guy.
has that T-shirt
Yep.
that just inspire. I would love to do that to some kids, and I would save some kid from the torture that is their life. You know, whatever it is going on in their life, and that would be
What's that
awesome.
saying? Learn from my mistakes.
Exactly.
From
Exactly.
yours.
But you know where you can do that too? Right in the faith. Well,
Mhm.
maybe I go to maybe I go to seminary school, and then I learn how to be a community leader in that for these people with this whole general, with this whole guide of rules already for them. Now we can go out. Now that I have this new set of rules, I can go out and help actual people on the street. Let's see if I can bring them to these rules because this is not. I'm not helping you. This is God calling you through me.
Yep.
So now you come here. Look at these things. Look at these rules. Now, bang, you're a good person. Bang, now you're a good person. Bang, now you're a good person. What what better life charge is it than that? What better life charge is it than that?
Anything.
Like I'm good. I'm good with that. I'll do that. I'll be fine dying doing that. So I was just like, you know what? Uh, One thing that is hard about religion is that you have to become lesser. And I was, good, circling back to what we were talking about. I was doing all those things because that's what these social medias they want you to court attention at all costs. Look at me, look
Yeah.
at me, look at me, look at me. I'm doing all this stuff. No, no, no. Become lesser. Become lesser. I'm going away from Facebook. I'm going away from the YouTubes. I'm going to learn how to live in God's word. And I'll come back. I'll teach it if I can, but it's a lot of people teaching a lot of different things. I don't know if I'm going to be that much of an effect, but at least I have more of a network, more of a support system
My thing
to
is,
bring
as
more
far as
people.
when it comes to teaching, there's two things that are good about that. Number one, when you have everybody has a perspective, and on that's the this isn't a Bible, but the idea is everybody has there's a general theme that the Bible has from the top to the bottom, and no matter how many times you read it, you may get something different out just in general, just
You
from
do.
you.
You totally
There
do.
is a baseline, of course, that you can pretty much use as a general topic, but then throughout that baseline, there are those sidebars that can be like, oh, we could talk about this for a little while. You talk about that. Like my favorite sidebar, because I mean, I don't know how many different. Have you ever actually read the entire thing all the way through yet?
Uh, there's some books that I'm missing. Like I'm not too much in Joel, but I would say I'm probably around 70 to 80% of the Bible
I'll tell
that
you
I
right now.
completely read and understood.
In the entirety of my life, like I said, from cradle till this moment, I've been pretty much a church guy my whole life. And it wasn't until 2019, I think it was, that I actually sat down and said to myself, you know what? I heard one of those guys that I saw on YouTube, Jim Barnett. He was a pastor and he's now just sort of an evangelist. And one of his sermons, he was talking about how two different things. Number one, this one pastor that he knew wouldn't preach um, on a set of verses until he read it 40 times, which is interesting.
40.
The other one was that you should probably read the Bible because essentially it takes about of course now I don't remember the number. I had it memorized.
Was it a year?
No,
Was it a little longer or
it's
shorter?
shorter. Like when you think about it, like the book. If you were to literally, this is not a Bible, but if you were to read the Bible
Mm.
and you had a sixth grade education, I think it was, it could take you 72 hours from cover to cover.
Okay, I mean, yeah, not straight, but yeah, if you're doing
if
like,
you dedicated
yeah,
72 hours, you
yeah.
could get through it with a sixth grade reading education. And then I'm like, I know people like Patrick, you read a lot. I never did. I always use the explanation like, well, I watch my books and I read my movies and I'm well versed in my reading. but,
Hilarious.
but, but, after he said that, he then said something else. It's like, yeah, you should definitely try to do this. You should get through the entire Bible. And he goes, because it doesn't really take you that long. And then he says, and even if you don't really read that much, listen to it.
Yeah.
And he said that, and I don't know if they probably said this a bunch of times in your church already. I got a conviction. I was like, here I am listening to all these podcasts at that point in time, right? It takes 72 hours at a sixth grade level to read the Bible.
Yep.
If I'm listening to it, having somebody who's one of those voice actors is reading a lot faster than that, I'm going to probably go through it a lot faster. And then I said, okay, I'm going to drive to work, I'm going to listen to it. I dropped the kids off, I let them listen to it while I was in there.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, it only took me like, because I broke it down in those little things, it was probably like 3-4 months that I had the whole thing down. I'm like, wow.
Yep.
I was even taking notes, and I even did it twice.
Like I read straight through it, not read, but I audiobook, listened to it. Like, you know, you put it on. They even have a Bible app on your watch, and the watch has, it's so cool. Like it has a bunch of voice actors. The chapters are all segmented nicely, and like it even has background. Like if God's talking, it's like the voice is much deeper, and you know this, that, and the third. Like if an evil person is talking, it's like you know, that type of thing. Yeah.
And in that process, I realized a whole lot of things. Like, I was like, okay, I'll be listening to it. I'm like, all right, throughout my entire life, I probably have broken it down. I'm not even going to lie. I'll have to honestly say that it's probably, in 47 years of going to church, is plural. If I had to put the amount of times that I read or heard every single verse in the Bible, I'm going to say it was probably 3 times. Before I read it, before I listened to it, and that's if just people just listening to certain things. Because one of the things that happens sometimes is when I was going to a couple different churches, there would be a lot of I guess you would say, not say it was stale, but people had their favorite verses and they would read those out loud, or you would read those out loud, and there'd be big chunks that you wouldn't hear everything. So I realized like there's certain points where it probably took years and years and years and years before I actually heard the whole thing. And then when I was listening to it, I'm like, okay, I remember that. And then I was like, oh, I didn't remember that.
Yeah.
Because either somebody had never read it, or I didn't look for
or
it,
it wasn't articulated right, and you just, and you know, like when you go to church, that's what I'm starting to realize. Like now that I'm like a member of this church, House of Prayer on 56, I can't remember the address right now. House of Prayer in Levittown, but
definitely worth a visit.
Definitely worth a visit. I mean, you want people that actually genuinely love you? Yeah, great people. What was I going to say? Yeah, like I call the church service is the big show. That's the big show. That's when, you know, the big songs, you get a verse, you get a couple of verses, you know, you get some testimonials, you get your, I hate to use this, I hate to like reduce it to this, but you know, you get your 40-minute book report and you're out of there, right? Yeah. And that's not learning the word. I think I always look at that as just, that's the big pageant.
Yes.
When you get into it by yourself. You get into it by yourself. That's first level. Second level is your YouTube videos that help you describe it. Then you get into your Bible studies and Sunday schools.
That's the stuff.
You get into stuff. Like what was the book that really got me and my wife? Me and my wife, we went when I started going to Sunday school. They got heavy into hell's bells. What's the book after Proverbs? It starts with an E. Ecclesiastes. Let me tell you something. If you are, you know, not a Christian and you've been dabbling in Christianity, a lot of people tell you go to Matthew. Don't go to Matthew. Your Sermon on the Mount is pretty good. Go to Ecclesiastes, because Ecclesiastes will deal with your life right now and why you don't matter and why this is more important. Done. Once you get that, nothing matters. don't try for money. Don't get women. It doesn't matter. Don't eat too much. It doesn't matter. Like
Mm-hmm.
don't do much. Love God. Enjoy your toil. Take joy in your toil. Love God. That's your life. You are a blade of grass. You are seasonal. I think that's, it even says that in
Yep.
Ecclesiastes. It's like, yo, people are a blade of grass. The believers are flowers. They all still bloom and die. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Love God. That's it. Once you get that, oh, it gets good. And then you start getting into all the rest of them where all the you start looking like a crazy. It's that one meme with a guy. He's got like strings going to different pieces on the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, this is so many weeks, and then this happened because the
Yep.
Romans did the thing, and you're like, you're doing all that craziness, and it's like then you're in. Then you're in it. But like, I did it before. I mean, I've listened to the audiobook the Bible cover to cover a few times. And you get a couple things, but you start getting real goofy. I'll say after Samuel, you start getting around Judges, you start getting around them books that's just like
It's tough, tough sledding.
and then yeah, like oh, and then somebody did something. Is this not mentioned in the book of what?
Yep.
And then you gotta go over here and go look at the book of whatever.
You want to know the thing that makes me go crazy? Because there is a book that is my absolute favorite book in the Bible, and it's the one that I honestly say, even as a younger kid, I was obsessed with it, and most people thought I was crazy because back then we're talking about 80s and early 90s, people didn't want to have anything to do with it.
Yeah.
Favorite book is Revelations.
A lot. My pastor's actually kind of afraid of Revelation. So he's like, I don't. Of course he's a pastor and he's read it, but he's like, I don't mess around because it's a lot going on in that book. It's so Jesus over there with flaming eyes and a sword tongue, like
see,
he
there's
over
a
there.
lot going on in Revelations, and the thing that's so beautiful about it is, you have to in mind. I'm going to give you. Here comes a little bit of a sermon, not too much, but just a little bit. You might find this interesting. It's like, well, how can I start this? I'm going to start this in a very weird way. First of all, there's a lot of symbolization in that because John from Patmos is sitting on that island and he's got this epiphany. No, it was Jesus himself who is like, if there was a person who literally was sitting on his shoulder, or like the in the Gospels, like particularly Luke, I can't remember which one of the disciples, I can't remember who was Peter. It might have been his account. I can't remember which one it was, but Luke was actually just scribing for one of those guys, and John essentially was scribing for the person who was telling him all of that, and that was Jesus himself.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, if Jesus wrote a book, it was Revelations. Think of it from that perspective. That makes that book super deep.
That makes that book heavy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now, if you want to go even more so, the thing that I was talking about, which is kind of crazy, I kept reading in and out because I just love the idea of the stuff that's happening. This is what makes people think I'm nuts. I like the idea of understanding what's happening in the future, but there's one prerequisite to that future. Those who are saved will not be in the ugly stuff. All that cataclysm,
straight up,
gone.
You get if you're not saved, you're in the ugly stuff,
Yep.
and then you'll get your chance to be saved.
Yep, but it's gonna be hard.
Yeah, it's gonna be BS for
Yeah.
you in that, like you. Ugh.
When the demons start rolling around and that stuff starts happening, it's gonna be rough. But like I said, all this stuff he's letting us know. This is what's going to be if you don't do this. And so be smart now and do it so you don't have to worry about this.
Yep.
But then the real fun part about this, and I think this is fun. You know how here comes a little bit of chemistry actually, right? Vitamins. There is one vitamin that requires another for it to be specifically utilized at its best. Vitamin D doesn't work at its fullest potential without vitamin K.
I remember hearing this.
Yeah, you've got like D2 is only as good as the K4. If those two are together, they work really well, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say the D, without a doubt, is Revelations, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's another book in the Bible that is the K, and most people don't like that one either, or they don't understand it because there's parts of it that are super confusing. But of course, after reading it a few times, listening to a few things, I am not going to say that I would teach a class on either of these books because they're still that crazy, right? But it helps you understand Revelations if you read Daniel.
Daniel. Yep. Daniel was we got real heavy into Daniel in Bible study.
Daniel is one that people don't really because
my name, Tekel Parson.
It's one of those books where like because it's a lot of prophecy. You're gonna hear the whole Daniel dealing with the lion's den. That's what everybody knows and loves and thinks that's the not to make light of it, but that's the cute stuff.
Yeah, that's those are the stories that make you go ooh.
Yeah.
But I tell you the interesting thing
but
is
Daniel is deep.
Yeah. Daniel has a lot in it. Daniel has the Daniel fast.
Mm-hmm.
The all raw foods vegan fast comes from Daniel. And it works. It's Daniel like 110 or something like that. It's like 8 verses and he's like, yeah, King's like, look, don't do nothing but give me vegetables and look how sharp we're gonna be. Lo and behold, they ain't nothing but vegetables and they were sharp. Huh? Let's try vegetables. Like, you're just in there.
Because that's the beauty of Daniel, because people think it's like, because like when you get to that stuff, there's some stuff that's in there that's so confusing. But like I said, think of it from that perspective. Revelations, vitamin D2. Daniel, vitamin K4.
I'm going to remember that, and I'm going to read those two together.
Because I'm going to tell you some things real quick, not to go too far. Like I said, I'm going to get off my pulpit real fast. But I just have to say this because especially because you're such a tech guy, and I thought about this, and it blew my mind, and I was like, okay, I even understand this even more than I thought it did. In the book of Daniel, he talks about a lot of futuristic stuff, and stuff that hasn't happened. Something that, like, for example, like, he couldn't even possibly comprehend how this pen works. He wouldn't have any idea.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he would look at it like it's an object that apparently you can scribe without having to refill from the well of ink. Huh. This is fascinating. There is a verse in there that creeps me out now that I think about it. I can't remember what the verse is, but at the same time, it makes sense based on the perspective of the person and where we are now. It's incredible.
Are we talking about the bodies with the animal heads? Not that?
No.
Okay.
Because that's sort of like that's so definitely Revelation sort of apocalyptic stuff, right? But there's his prophecies. There's a couple of them that I'm going to say that are in the book of Daniel that make you go, whoa. The first one is that he saw that there's going to be a time when people are going to go to and fro very regularly.
Hmm.
Confusing to him because back then, I mean, a day's journey was only a few 50 miles.
A day's journey is like 10 miles. Like that's a long way for walking. But then you saying to or fro, like
imagine being able to be in a plane and going from one continent to another.
And hours.
Imagine how many times, like right now, there's probably 50 planes above us without even thinking about it.
Easy.
That thought in my mind is, whoa, he saw that. He was confused. He didn't know what it was. And then the next one that I thought was really funny, well, not funny, but funny, strange, and interesting, right? Knowledge will increase.
Mm.
Literally, in these devices, every single book that has ever been written can be found. Every single thing that anybody has ever recorded.
Just listening to that in that time
is in your head.
Even listening to that prophecy in 1980 would be like,
yeah, what's
like,
that mean? Yeah,
what do you mean? Like,
and we're talking the letters BC were in front of his number.
Yeah, that's a whole thing. I mean, it was like a lot BC too, like 500 BC.
We're way
it was like
back.
A lot. Like,
and then my favorite one, the one that really made me lose my mind because I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it and thought about it, and when it really clicked, I was like, he saw what's happening. Like right now, like all this stuff we're seeing now.
We talked about this in Bible study, yeah.
And this one, I don't know if they told you about this one, but if they didn't, this is one that you would be fun to bring up with because of your technical expertise. This one would be great. Statues can move. Put that in perspective of today. What kind of statues
We just talked about
do
Optimus
we
about a
have
couple hours
that
ago.
can move?
Talk about Optimus. You talking about what's the name of that? Boston Dynamics. You know,
From his perspective,
that's insane.
from ancient Babylon, he would think, well, that's a statue.
My
It's
man is seeing
not moving,
robots,
and then all of a sudden it moves.
I mean, it's a statue. It's certainly not a human, but it's in the form of a human.
Yeah, so it's like a
But it's
statue,
moving.
but it's moving.
What else would you call that if you didn't have the words?
If you didn't have the words to use
right,
it.
Right,
Yep.
right.
Robot wasn't a word back
You're
then.
not gonna say robot like that.
Yep.
You would say a statue that can move.
Yep.
Hmm.
When you think about that, it's like
That's crazy.
you are seeing way into the future. Like, I mean, his great grandkids were long dead.
They weren't even.
They were.
Even then, like I guess like in the 80s. I mean, I would say in the 80s. I would say in the 1910s. That was still unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
It just I think that's the thing in the Bible. Like it's just that it's the fact that there's things there. Stop it. There's things there that are, when you really look at them, like things like that. There's your prophecy right there, and you can there's prophecies that come true in the Bible, because the Bible. Remember, the Bible is taking place over like 1,700 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what you're seeing.
Yeah.
So like people in Moses' time were the same as people in like the year 500 to us.
Yes, exactly.
So what was going on in year 500? The Byzantines, like the fallen Roman Empire,
still floating around,
like Aztecs, like so. Imagine all that going on, and then they're saying they're telling you stuff that's going to happen in your day, and you're reading about it.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, on a donkey.
Yeah.
Oh, and they knew about this 1,000 years ago.
Yeah. It's one of the most chilling and most interesting parts of that book.
And that's one of those things where you go like, okay, well, this is. I mean, I don't like to believe too much in hoopa-joop and all that stuff, but there's definitely some weight here.
Yes.
There's definitely some weight here. So it's like, maybe we need to see about what this is.
Yeah.
And you walk, and once you do it, you make a. And I don't want to get into too preachy myself here, but I will say this: what I've learned is you make a concerted effort to cling to that word.
Yeah.
That's why I make sure my church is not very far from where I live. I have 3 or 4 Bibles floating around the house. I have a Bible on every app on my phone, every TV screen. Anytime I turn on any screen, there's probably going to be a Bible verse in there, because that's the way you do it. You have to keep that word so close to you, because that is the light.
Yeah.
Like I remember I was looking at real quick, we'll stay on the Bible subject last thing, but like I remember I was listening to this podcast, very interesting thing. He was talking about when Adam and Eve first got kicked out of the Garden of Eden. Like they got kicked out of Garden of Eden, I remember he said they put swirling, it was basically a tornado of swirling swords and fire at the gates of Garden of Eden. I think they put a cherubim too. That's the crazy eye angel. So
the most powerful group of angels there are. One of you go down there.
Right there, 1,000 eyes looking at exactly what you do. It's very interesting. And the podcaster, he said something very interesting. He was like, well, he really didn't say you couldn't go back into the Garden of Eden.
Oh, he didn't.
But I will tell you this: if you go back into the Garden of Eden, your flesh will die, because fire and swords will kill flesh. It'll kill you as flesh, but it doesn't do anything to light. So if you go back into that garden with full faith as light, you will get back into the Garden of Eden.
That makes sense.
Bro, I heard that and I was just like, wow, there it is. You're going to die. Doesn't matter.
Yep.
You're going to die. You are going to die. You are flesh. Nothing of this matters. So why are you looking through life? Why are you looking for crystals? Why are you looking for all this other OT level ayahuasca BS? No. Follow the light. Follow the word. You transmit your light, the word, into the next bit of flesh. You keep the light going. That is the entire. I am the way, the truth, and the light. Nothing comes through but through me. You come through light.
Mm-hmm. It makes it so simple.
Once I got that,
that's the thing that's so crazy about it. Even though that stuff we were just talking about, right? Some of it can be super complex, but it all comes down to one simple thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one simple thing. Like I have so many concepts that I've thought about that make all kinds of weird sense, but like the thing here going a little bit further before we get to the other stuff before we end this. The fact of two things actually. The one is free will, and I always find it very interesting because this correlates into a weird thing. It's like, okay, for a long time I was like, how can there be free will if I know that God knows that I'm gonna go left, and that's because that's what He already knows that I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go left. That's it. I can't go right. There's an impossibility because He already knows that that's what I'm gonna choose. But I have the choice to go right.
Right.
But I'm not gonna. It's not possible. And this is how big God is. I love this concept, right? Makes me smile when I think about it. He knows that you're going to go left, but you can choose to go right. He knows everything that'll happen if you go right,
Mm-hmm.
but you're not going to. So all of that doesn't matter, but He knows what'll happen when or if you go right. And when you go left, He knows what you're going to do when you go left. So even if you do something else when you go left, you can't because you're going to do that very same thing, even though you have the choice to do a multitude of things that are on the left. You're going to only do the one thing that He already knows you're going to do. I think that's crazy. To think that He can see all of that all at once. And I thought to myself, it's such a crazy concept.
Such a top-down perspective when you're looking at one person.
That's where I'm going with
right.
it. Imagine this Trapper Keeper is what we are stuck in, which is time. That's the one thing that's cool about God. Nothing else. He is outside of it.
Which is a crazy concept.
And this is the only way that, of course, for my, or maybe even our human feeble minds, even make this make any sense. And I thought about this, and I'm like, this is really kind of neat. And it's probably not even as deep as it even really goes. But it's as close as we're going to probably mentally be able to think of this. We are God at this moment, right? Not that we're pretending to be God, but just for sake of this argument, you know what I mean, right?
Mm.
This is all of time, because He sees it. From the beginning
like this
to the end.
He sees it like this.
Yep.
Like
He sees the end. He knows what's there. He sees the beginning. He knows what's there. He sees everything in between. All the different things that can happen. Even though He knows, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, there's one timeline that everybody goes on. There's all these branches. He sees all that. He knows what could happen if, but He knows that it's only going to be that. And He sees it from that and everything else.
That's insane.
That's just, to think of that in a concept, there's like one omnipotent being who can see all of it. So realistically, while we're toiling through our lives, right, He already knows what happened in the beginning, and He knows what's going to happen in the end, and He already sees the end. Not that He it's almost like He's there. He knows.
Yeah, he was there, and He will be there. He is here right now.
Yep. It's just mind blowing to think about that, right? And when that popped in my mind, when I looked at it like that, I'm like, huh.
Yeah, when you actually look, it's almost like
it's too much to comprehend.
It's like you're like it's like almost like you're looking at like a. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're looking at like a gerbil or something like that. You know, like you look at like you have a pet gerbil. You're looking at the lifespan of a gerbil. They're in your house. You see exactly what's going to happen with them. You know when they're going to die. You don't know when exactly. You don't know when they're going to die, but you know the average gerbil life is about 4 to 6 years. Okay. Whatever you do, I see your entire life. Like,
and that's the whole thing that, like, when that blew my mind, because I used to tell everybody, if God already knows that I'm going to go left, how is it that I have free will? Because I can't go right because He knows I'm going left. And then it dawned on me that, well,
you're not looking. You're looking here.
Yeah,
you're not looking.
I'm not looking there.
Yeah.
Like, I could choose to go right. He knows that I'm not going to. But if I made that choice, then I wouldn't go left. I would be going right, and He would still know what I would have done had I gone left.
I see you were going to zig. You should have zigged, but you zagged. And here's the zag scenario. Anyway,
man, that makes me think of a couple other things, and I don't want to go too much longer. But I think was it was it you who actually was talking about listening to the voice of God, or was it somebody else?
I didn't say anything public. I did it in church, but I didn't talk about like. I think I did. I put it on Facebook. I was saying that the voice of God is
Yes,
usually
it was.
very
It
clear
was.
and concise.
Let me tell you, I tell her, I think I've only told a handful of people, but I absolutely 100% have heard his voice 3 times.
We talked about that on
Mm-hmm.
Facebook. Yep, me too. 3 times.
3.
Yep.
Yep. And those 3, and it wasn't like some big cloud opening up and
Nope.
he said, "Thou shalt do." No.
Nope. It was quick.
It was so quick,
Yep.
and it was weird because, and that's how you know that it was definitely the God, because first of all, in the Bible it says, "His sheep will know His voice,"
Mm.
and
Mm.
when He speaks, it to me, like He speaks to everybody differently. Sometimes He talks to people in dreams, but for me, it was like a pause button, and like I was standing in front of the locker room. I think to tell the story quick, I was standing in front of the locker room of my football locker room, and it was my sophomore year, and I was about to go into practice, knowing that I had already missed 2, and the rule was if you miss 3, you're off the team.
I remember that shit. Yeah.
I go and I'm at the door, like I'm probably as far away from the edge of the counter as I'm sitting right now, and I was at the door, and everything stopped. It was paused. Like I can't describe it any other way. Nobody else was there. Like for some weird reason, nobody was coming into the locker room. Nobody was going out of the locker room. Nobody was going down the hall. It was nobody, just me. Everything else had stopped. And a very gentle voice said one simple statement: "Don't go."
Concise. Right there. Right there.
It was specific. And I heard it in my head, and I was like, this is weird. And it felt like an hour, but it was no more than 12 to 15 seconds.
Mm.
And then I came back, and it was sort of like, okay, I told you what to do. Make your choice. And in the words of, I don't know if you've seen Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade, where the knight is standing there when the Holy Grail is there, and they tell him there's a whole bunch of cups, and the knight says, "You have to choose."
Right. I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that scene. Yeah.
And then, of course, the guy gets the wrong
He
one.
chooses the golden cup and he melts or something
And
crazy.
he
Yeah.
goes, "You chose." He chose poorly.
Right.
That's what I did. I went to practice, had a great practice. Like, let's put it this way: if it had been the day before, I'd have been a starting middle linebacker / nose tackle to change the entire defense based on what I did during that practice. But I enraged the starting center, and he cut blocked me, and that's when I got my first knee surgery, which led to my second knee surgery, which led to me having a much different trajectory to my sports career and pain in life in general. Who knows if I had said, "This is weird. Okay, football. It was fun. I'm going." What would have been different?
That's crazy. That's so. I mean, and that's how it works. I mean,
And then there's a part 2 to this too. We're talking, that was when I was 15. Now we're going up to like 31 when I'm now working in Pet Boys, and the same thing happens. I already sort of hurt my elbow working on a brake job on this big kidnapper van, for lack of better terms.
got it. Talking
And
Ford F-350 or
yeah.
the Cat Eye Chevy.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
it had these big drum brakes, and I was pulling on something, and all of a sudden I felt my elbow go weird. The one that I was throwing discus with, so just I knew it was going to happen. And I was in parts department at the point because they let me do some, I guess you could say, light duty. And I hear it again. Everything stops. We're talking about a store. There was nobody around for some reason. It all hit pause, and I heard, "Do not climb a ladder." And then it went off. Now, to explain that, inside those stores, like you know how they have those ladders that you push down, you climb up, and it's a staircase. He said, "Do not climb a ladder," and I'm like, "This is oddly familiar."
That's pretty much Pep Boys aisles with those ladders and tires and stuff. Yeah.
I'm not gonna climb a ladder no matter what anybody says. I'm not doing it. Even on parts, and you know, like in the parts, you have to put stuff up and things down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing it. I said, I will not do it. Not gonna do it. And I held fast, and I didn't do it. And around 8 o'clock that night, one of the assistant service managers. What was his name? I think his name was Dave. It was Dave. Was pulled the ladder up, put it up in the one that I would have used, no less. And nobody went on that ladder the entire time. That's another thing I forgot to mention when I keep telling the story. Nobody went on that ladder after I heard that. And he goes and climbs up the ladder, falls off,
Mm.
hits the ground. His ankle is in bad shape. But what makes it worse is he had a fusion of his ankle. So just like me, who had already had ankle surgery and had to have it repaired, he fell off the ladder and he re-injured it so badly they took him out. And that was in um, July, I believe it was. I left in December. I never saw him again.
Mm.
So that injury was awful bad, and I'm thinking to myself, that was probably gonna be me.
Yeah, that's
And that time I listened.
yeah.
And the third time was pretty cool too because it was recently. I just heard him say, "Do nothing," and I did nothing, and I thought it was weird because like I was in a situation where I was trying to figure out. I had some bills that I was looking to pay, and I just said, "I have to go call somebody, do whatever," and I heard, "Do nothing," and I did nothing. Like literally, like instead of making any phone calls, whatever it was, and then I got a phone call saying, "Oh, this is what's going to happen. You can just do this." Oh,
Oh,
okay.
yeah, and that's how it works.
And
I,
yeah,
I'll just tell you the one time I had, like, I remember, I think I talked about this on Facebook. There's three, the two other times are personal, so I'm going to keep it at one,
yep,
and interest of time. But I remember, this is after I had a son, like I said, I had a wife and a son. My ex-wife and my son passed away in 2007. His name was Milestone. Um, and I remember I went right back to work because the electric bill was in the mail, literally. And I was just like, oh, well, I have to get the electric bill paid. It's already past due. So I went back to work, and I was working at Target on Monument Road over there by Sea Line Avenue.
yep,
And I was working overnight in the back room, and I had the little QR scanner in my hand, and like my boss was being a boss or whatever, and I'm in and out. Same thing happened. I'm scanning, and like just I got this kind of chill a little bit. And it was cold. I was a little cold, and something just was like, "You don't belong here." And I was like, and I just put the Telzon down, and I just left. Alarms on the door. It was 2 o'clock in the morning, and I just walked home, and I never went back to that job again.
yep,
And then literally right after that, I would say like 2 days after, my girlfriend at the time, Casey, she was that new casino just opened up. It's like next thing you know, I got the casino job as security guard. A year later, I got the greatest job I ever had, being a technician with the building the casinos all in the area. That one, you don't belong. That quiet, and it was quiet.
quiet.
It was quiet. It's like
Yep.
you don't belong here.
It's
It's
just
like,
gentle voice, almost a whisper, and you're like, okay.
and you don't, and you're like, huh.
Yeah.
You're
And
like,
it just throws you, and you're like, wow, okay.
okay. I have, like I said, I don't want to get to others, but there's one that I didn't listen. Very bad things happen.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting with them. Anyway, go ahead.
That's the whole point. Like, you don't realize this until, like, I guess you could say, until I'm such a Star Wars guy. It's literally like the Force in some ways, but it's not because it's real.
Yeah, it's real.
But the idea is you have to quiet your mind. If your mind is all over the place, like you said before, if you're not focused on it, if you're not thinking about it all the time, you won't hear it. You'll miss it.
Yeah.
And if
You can miss it
and
easily.
You can miss it.
You can miss it. Yeah.
And I think to myself, what would be worse? In my mind, would it have been worse to have not heard it if I had just missed it, rather than to have heard it and not obeyed it, or I
Right.
think to myself, it would have been much worse if I didn't hear if I didn't hear it at all.
Right.
Because if I missed it, then all of a sudden I wouldn't have.
You'd be wondering why God, why
Yeah.
all these things, this, that, and the
Exactly.
third. And that's the thing, and that's why I go, I got into becoming lesser. Like when I ran just a real quick thing, I have these things where I do long runs or long bikes on either solstice. So summer solstice I do a long bike, and winter solstice I do a long run. And that's what I got from running the 35 miles that I did, 37 miles, matter of fact, that I did this past December. Like I was running, and I started realizing it. I was like, fumbling. I'm trying to fumble with the phone while I'm trying to get footage for doing certain whatever. It's just like, no, none of that needs to be done.
Just run.
Just run. It's like, and every time I thought about, I could do this. No, just run. And it was like, and that's when I got it. I was like, oh, I have to become lesser. I am nothing but a vessel for what he wants me to do in this life. And I'm fine with that. That's amazing.
One of my favorite guys, Paul, again, I tell you right now, it's good, especially in my mind, because sometimes it's weird, really weird about what I'm about to say, this word. I kind of miss the jail a little bit. That's weird, right? Like, I miss going to jail and being with the inmates and talking to the people and getting all that stress. It's weird sometimes. You kind of miss it, right? But then Paul comes to your mind and you go, be content in whatever state you're in.
Hmm.
And I'm like, oh, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Where's the paintbrush?
Yep. Yep. Oh, I need to go. Let me just go walk another couple miles.
That's why I have pictures That's why I have paintings all over my house now. It's like, well, okay, just paint another one. Paint another one. Paint another one.
This is what I'm doing now, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I don't want to keep going too long,
but now let's get to the point. Let's get closer to the end then, as we should probably get ready to wrap up the second part of this great interview, which is loving. I can't even call it an interview because, like I say, like Dusty Rhodes says, you steal all the good stuff from the people that do it good. And Shannon Sharp says, we're having a conversation. So
pretty much.
What it is. It's a conversation.
You're watching two friends catch up on air.
Yes.
That's what you're watching.
Yes. And again, I'm going to go to one of those new, one of those new segments that I want to do. And we'll do two, and that's pretty much going to be the end of it. The thing is this one, because of copyrights, I'm not going to go into exactly what it is, but it'll be what it is. I'm going to tell you three things, and I'm going to listen to them myself. And these three things have one thing in common. This is like one of my favorite games that I own, and I've never actually played it in full context. It's so much better just to read the thing, see if you can figure it out, rather than move around the board. A radio show did it one time, and they did the same thing. But they actually used the real name, but I don't know if they actually came up with the thing. And it's really cool.
I don't know what this is. I'm interested.
It's a really neat board game, and once I saw them do it, I ran up and I had to go get it. For example, this one, I looked at this one the other day because I couldn't quite get that one in the bottom. But no, I did get it. Yeah, I did get that one. So I'll use this one as a test because I actually knew the answer to this one right away. But you might be able to figure that other one out. But let's just give this one. These three things have one thing in common. NASCAR racetrack, an olive, and the movie Seven.
I don't know what the movie Seven is.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Well, let me go to the next one. I'll give you this one because this one. What the answer to that is: a NASCAR, an olive, and the movie Seven. Seven's one of my favorite movies because I've got like a man crush on this one particular person in it because I'm obsessed with all of his movies. They all have pits in common. NASCAR pit, olive pit.
I was thinking Oval
Seven.
at first, but then I was like, wait a minute, I don't know what the movie Seven is.
Yep, Seven has Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt.
I probably saw it. I'm a big Pitt guy myself.
Yep.
I was just watching 12 Years a Slave. He was so cool in that.
I mean, and of course, as much as I loved him as Achilles and all those other things, Seven is probably one of my top three favorite movies of all time.
I think it's Fight Club. Fight Club is probably one of the best movies I've ever seen him in.
But my favorite role that he ever played was in Deadpool 2. I'm not gonna lie, it was one of my favorite.
I gotta see Deadpool 2 again. I saw that movie once. But anyway.
The only way you will know that he's in it is if you pause it at the right moment. That's all I'm gonna say.
Interesting.
It's a stupid little spot, and it's so funny that he's in it. But it's him. He's in it. You have to pause it at the right spot. But Here comes one that I'm pretty sure you'll probably get. Three things that all these things having one thing in common, and it is Magellan, um, what is it? Lycos, and Yahoo. I think I'm saying it wrong.
As in the country?
Lycos. Lycos.
I don't know what Lycos is.
I'm not sure either. But I think
Lycos?
I think the answer would be. This is just me guessing. Like I said, I don't know the answer to this one. But if I had to guess what the answer is, probably what these three things have in common, I'm gonna say they are
Magellan, Lycos, and what was the third one?
Yahoo.
Something to do with
searching,
the internet.
right?
Yeah,
Internet.
Magellan was a search engine.
Yeah.
It was one of the very first search engines.
That's what I'm thinking.
Before Netscape Navigator was Magellan, Lycos, I remember that being something to do with a search.
It's probably something like that. And yeah, that's exactly what it is. They're all internet search engines. That's why I love this. I absolutely love it. Let me see if I can find one more because I love this game. Like I said, this is the craziest game in the world. I never actually played it for what it was, and that better not be the answer side. It is.
Stop it. We're almost done. Cut it out.
Well, that's just stupid. I don't want to do that one. I don't really care what they have in common, and I don't think you do either. But this is the one I'm going to skip. Three things that have one thing in common, and it's fleas, lice, and ticks. I don't really care what they have in common.
Yeah, I mean, fleas, lice, annoying?
I don't know.
Like, what is it? They're parasites?
Parasites. That's exactly what it is. Yep, they're parasites. But now that we've done that little thing, because I think it's fun to sort of do that. I love that thing. The Book of Questions, which we also don't know what that is either. Since, again, we do not have qualifications at all. Let's see. What do we have here?
Like you treating me done, okay? That's not it.
This actually is probably a really good question for you. What would you consider a challenge for yourself that may be rewarding in the long run?
What would I consider a challenge for myself that may be rewarding in the long run? Now, it's a will. A challenge would be for me to consistently make $500 a day with, like I said, 6 hours of effort. That would pretty much almost guarantee, if unless my body falls apart, that I can get the triathlon done or the Ironman done, and I will be able to go to college paying for it in cash to get my to get my teaching degree. So yeah, that's what it would be. It would be if I can keep. I hate to make money but yeah. I wish I should give you another one, but this is live. But whatever.
For me, it's real simple for me. It's just for me just to continue doing this show. That would be the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's neat that the more I keep doing it, in the long run, the longer it goes, the more interesting it becomes. It seems like it's changing. I do have another one if you want. Let's see. Well, we pretty much have this whole show about this one. Like, I could have just asked you this in the beginning. I can't even believe this is here. It's like, why did you choose your current profession? We know that.
Oh, we know that. Yeah.
That one is just that one's a gimme there. Let's see if there's any more fun ones. Here's a good one. What do you feel needs further exploration in our world or universe?
I think there's a lot of things that could be known if we were to have the correct tools to explore the waters.
That's exactly